Are you looking for an awesome tool to help you with streaming and productivity, and even help you inside of your favorite programs, or maybe not your favorite, but programs that you have to use, such as Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, and many other creative tools that are out there? If so, stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about Loupedeck Live, which is a great alternative to something like the Elgato Stream Deck, because it's geared towards streaming, but it's also geared towards content creation. So let's go ahead and roll that intro. What's going on, guys? Chad here from How To Tech, the channel dedicated to helping you take your tech to the next level. And today we are going to be taking a look at the Loupedeck Live from Loupedeck. And yeah, so before we really get into this, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to Loupedeck for sending this product to me to take a look at and review. By no way, shape, or form are they telling me that I have to talk positively about this product. I'm just giving you guys my opinion on what I actually think of the Loupedeck Live. And yeah, we're going to kind of jump into more of the ins and outs of how this product works and what I kind of found out the place that it fit for me as far as being useful for my productivity, my workflow, and making YouTube videos, and just a bunch of other things like that, and how this product can be useful. So before we jump into that stuff and talk about what's in the box and all of that cool stuff, let's talk about what the Loupedeck Live is and what it's trying to accomplish. So essentially, the Loupedeck Live is mainly for streaming, but it also has, it does double duty as being an extremely versatile tool for content creation, whether that is editing photos, editing videos, or many other programs that they actually support. And they actually have a list on their website. I'll probably go ahead and put that on screen now so you guys can take a look at it. And it's a really neat alternative, something like the Elgato Stream Deck. And the reason why it's a great alternative to something like the Stream Deck is because it actually adds more features, and it kind of is its own thing. It's not trying to be exactly like the Stream Deck in what it currently is. And the reason why is because it's got really neat tools such as dial knobs on it that you can adjust volume with, and we'll talk about some of that more in just a second. So without further ado, let's kind of jump over and take a look at some of the stuff that's in the box and talk about the Loupedeck Live. So before we really get involved in the software side of this, I want to talk about what is included in the box. I'm not going to be doing an unboxing. I've already unboxed it. I've messed with this device probably about 4 or 5 days now, and I really, really like it. And yeah, let's just talk about what's in the box without doing an actual unboxing. So one thing I want to talk about is the Loupedeck obviously comes in the box. It's kind of needed. The Loupedeck Live is kind of what you're paying for, and also a few little things come with it as well. So one thing that is included is the USB-C to USB-C cable. This is how you're going to connect it to your computer. Now, if you don't have a USB-C connection on your computer, don't fret. It actually comes with a USB-C to USB-A adapter. And if you don't know what USB-A is, it looks like a regular flash drive. So if you've got a port that looks like this on your computer, you're good. You'll be able to plug it in. You just plug the adapter straight into it and then plug it in. I've currently have mine on my desk plugged into a USB hub, and it works absolutely great. So now that we've looked at the stuff that comes in the box with the Loupedeck, which is the Loupedeck, the cable, and the adapter, let's talk about why I really like the Loupedeck, and that is because of the integrations with stuff such as Spotify, Twitch. We'll talk about those later and how I have my workspaces set up, because I think me showcasing the workspaces that I've kind of set up after using this product for a few days will kind of give you a little bit more thoughts of what you could use this tool for. And then also I show how the applications that we kind of have listed here already have pre-default profiles set up for them that you can take and edit and tweak them, but they're already set up to where it's super useful. So you don't have to know how to set this stuff up. You could literally just plug it in and use some of the pre-default or predefined and default profiles, which is awesome. And then, for example, for Windows, this is whenever you're not logged into or open in an application or don't have an application open, you have the options to set these buttons to do other things. So for example, I have these different workspaces. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a second, but I want to show you the convenience of this software. And we're not going to go too much into what all these different actions are and how many there are, because there are quite a few. But a good example would be if we wanted to add, say, the action to lock my computer. It's as simple as throwing this in here, lock workstation. And now whenever I'm on my Loupedeck, if I go to YouTube workspace and then I click here, it's going to lock my computer. Really useful. And then if I wanted to bring up emojis, I could do the same. I could drag that in, and
it's as simple as just dragging them out. You actually have to click here. Then you can drag and drop things in that you want to add, and then things that you don't want, you just drop them out of there. And there's options to load Spotify playlist, options to like, volume. There's just a lot of stuff in here. And now we're going to kind of talk about what my workspaces are really set up as and explain them in depth and show you guys what you could possibly do with this. So now that we've kind of covered what comes in the box, let's take a look at a little bit of the software and some of the features that you're going to come to expect from this. So I'm going to kind of talk about them, show you them with my mouse in the software, and then kind of point over here too, so you can kind of keep up with what I'm talking about. And the first thing is we have like our home workstation. I consider this like my home page. If you click it, it'll take you to your home page. I've currently have mine set, and this is what it looks like on the PC side when I'm configuring it. And this is what it looks like in person. And we'll go over kind of what some of these things do. And the first thing is these green spots or any of these numbers down here can actually be set to be workspaces. Workspaces are essentially just locations to keep more content and pages of information. And if they're lit up green, that means they're actually set to a workspace. And if they're lit up purple, that means that they are set to do an action. So for example, if I press number 1, it's going to want to open the screenshot tool from Microsoft. And yeah, we can see that comes up. And then 6 and 7 do different things. I can't remember what I actually have 6 programmed to right now, but I know 7 is actually programmed to lock my computer. This is really helpful for me. I'm an IT guy. I like having my computer locked all the time. And yes, I can press Windows L or click the start button and lock my computer, but it's nice when I'm on the go. I just press 7 really quick, run away. All my stuff's locked. So really neat. Yeah, let's talk about some of these workspaces that I have set up, because this is where I think this is going to be really useful for people. And then whenever we really start getting into how this is kind of content aware of what programs you have open, you'll really see why the Loupedeck is such a versatile utility for a streamer, content creator, or if you do both, definitely versatile for those applications, because it can tell what you're opening and what you are currently using, and you can lock it and do a bunch of other really, really neat things. So let's go ahead and talk about the different workspaces I have set up, and then we'll show you what it kind of looks like inside of a program, because like I said, it does vary. Getting started first, I actually have 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I actually have these workspaces also set to a touchscreen button. As you can see here, these touchscreen buttons can be programmed with actions and set to different workspaces, just like the buttons down here. You just have more options for control. And we also have volume knobs, and these knobs don't actually have to just control volume. I currently have this one set to my system sounds, and we can see that possibly, if the camera is focused good enough, you can see that my system volume is set to 65, and I can adjust it here, turn it up or down. I can press it in to mute the audio, and I can press it in again to unmute the audio. It gives a lot of quick controls for your Windows system and even other programs. And we can actually see right here that I have these 2 linked to Spotify. This is going to allow me to adjust the volume of the music that I'm listening in Spotify. And this gives me the option to play and pause and navigate back and forth inside of tracks, which is also really useful. I also have some other things set up here. For example, if I press the settings button, it'll bring up Windows settings. I go there from time to time. Once again, I said I'm an IT guy. Having the Windows Run button just there is convenient, and also stuff like File Explorer is here. And I also use Task Manager a lot, and I actually think that's what I have 6 programmed to here. And we can see that we can just throw some of these things up super quick, and it's really useful. So now let's look at some of the workspaces. So I could press the YouTube button here or 2. They're both set to the second workspace, obviously. So we'll press one of these, and we can see that I actually have a list of different items, and I'm going to go ahead and pull those up on my computer as well. So I'll go to YouTube, and we can see that I actually have this set to launch YouTube. This will launch YouTube Studio. This will launch my YouTube Analytics. This will launch Social Blade, vidIQ's dashboard. I use Asana, which is a web application for content management for me making my videos and staying on schedule and stuff like that. I'm trying to get better, I promise. Links to the Patreon page, Amazon Associates, and even our merch store from Teespring. Check that out if you guys haven't already. And this just gives me quick access. So I'm gonna show you guys the YouTube button. I'm gonna press it, and actually that was an awful example because I did not have my browser pulled up on the right screen. So let's move the browser over here, and I'm just gonna press one button again, and we can see it goes straight to YouTube. Super useful for these applications and use cases. And if we wanted to bring up the YouTube statistics, we'll just click on Social Blade there, and it'll bring up my statistics all at the press of a button. I do want to mention that the way this is set up, this is actually set up to run a script, and that is not currently featured inside of Loupedeck, but I have been told that this is a feature that's coming actually very soon in Loupedeck software. So by the time this might release, you might already have access to this, and it's not something very difficult for them to program, and they already have an eye out for it. So that's really awesome by them. My third workspace is actually set to Twitch, and this is not to control any programs such as OBS, and I will show you in just a second, I promise, how I have all that set up. But this is just if I'm doing some maintenance on Twitch, or for whatever reason I click out of it and I just want to see stuff that's going on. So I can see how many chatters I currently have, I can run commercials, spam emotes, I can set different chat policies, see how many people are watching. I can click this button to launch Twitch, and I can even set buttons to launch my dashboard and analytics like I've done there. Really, really nice and convenient, especially if you stream from time to time and you want to set up a workspace for that. And I have my my fourth one actually set up to games that I like to play. I've got Counter-Strike, Among Us, some of the Halo games, and Warframe, and just whatever I'm interested in or into, I've started to populate here. And as I become more interested in games, I've actually got another page set up to where I can add even more games in the future. That just gives me some flexibility and keeps me from having to click the start button or type it in or keep as many things kind of tied to the taskbar, because I hate it and I think it looks cluttered. This is just a nice and easy way of doing so. And like I kind of alluded to a second ago, or kind of showed, is I have my program set up the same way. So it's just one press of a button will launch any of these programs. And why don't we just go ahead and press one? So let's go ahead and let's launch. How about we launch Adobe Audition? So we'll press that button and give it just a second. We can see that the mouse is working on something, and there we go. Adobe Audition, it just pops up, and I don't have to have this pinned to the taskbar. I think I'm actually probably about to remove almost everything that's pinned to the taskbar, except probably for my browser and file explorer. And yeah, it's really neat. And unfortunately it did open up on another monitor, but there you go. So that is a good example of how useful and neat and awesome that this program can be. And now it's time to show you guys something which it might have just showed you then, and I really wasn't paying attention. So let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to click on OBS, and OBS is on a different monitor, so I apologize, you can't see it right now. And I'm actually going to change this here so you can see this to OBS Studio, and we can kind of see how these workspaces are set up. So we'll go to the home workspace for here, and we can see how that is. And if I click back on OBS, we can see that we're currently in some menu here, and you can see how this Loupedeck screen and the lights that are currently lit up right now kind of are similar to what we see on the screen. And if I press the home button, we can see that we go home and we see identical information. So here is something that I think is absolutely cool, and one of my favorite things about this, and something that I kind of hate doing in OBS, is dragging volume sliders up and down and adjusting them on the fly. And this makes this super easy, and I'll show you why. So I'm actually going to pull OBS down, and I apologize, this is going to be like recording inception and you're just going to see a lot of stuff. But I actually have my desktop audio device, Audio 2, and then my microphone. One desktop audio device is set to be like my PC's audio. Second one is set to be like communications device for Discord and Skype. If you want to know how to do that or how to record multi-track audio, check out the video up above on the card. It'll show you how to do that. Pretty cool, awesome video. That was actually the last video that came out on the channel. And then I also have a microphone, and these are all separated, but without all that being said, let's show you the cool part. So for example, if I'm talking right now and I adjust this volume slider, you can see that the volume slider is actually going down inside of OBS. And if we adjust it back up, the volume goes back up as well. And we can do this for all of these different audio sources, and we have complete control over them. Something super cool that something like an Elgato Stream Deck just doesn't have, and that the Loupedeck has. And it's a really awesome thing to have inside of this kind of device. Some other cool things that are inside of here that you'll be able to see is we have options for adjusting all of the volume. We can actually go over to the stream tab. We can toggle the playback. We can change tracks if we're doing audio inside. We could press the record button. That would unfortunately end this recording, so we're not going to. Or we could press the button right there next to it to go live. We can set markers for our stream, start clips. There, like I said, there are just tons of useful things inside of here. This one's currently set up to run Spotify, and this one's lets us run commercials, adjust the chat, and all of that. And this is super, super useful if you're streaming to be able to have these at a glance. Just look over, touch something, run something. Really, really neat. And something that you might be thinking is, yeah, that's nice, but what happens? As you can see, I click on the desktop, that immediately goes away. Well, what's really neat is there is actually a way you can go in here and the Loupedeck, and you can actually lock it to the application. So if we wanted to lock it to OBS Studio, it's currently locked there. So while we're streaming, this would be my workspace. I would lock that to OBS Studio, and now I could be doing whatever in whatever game or program, and now this gives me that functionality. And I think the main appeal of the Loupedeck to me as a content creator and somebody who streams from time to time is the fact that it gives me so much control. I can add as many pages as I want to. I can set up as many work spaces inside of those with pages inside of those. And I have options to adjust volume. I can lock them to the programs that I want. And whenever I'm not streaming, it's as simple as going in here to the Loupedeck, unlocking the program, and now I have all of my standard controls for whatever I'm doing. So there's nothing technically stopping you from setting up all of this stuff to work a very particular way for whenever you're streaming, whenever you're just doing YouTube videos, or whenever you're using just particular programs such as Photoshop, Premiere, or anything else out there that you might be doing.
So now that we've kind of taken a look at the Loupedeck, what are my opinions and how long have I been using it? Well, I've been using it for about 4 or 5 days now, and I have to say I really like the product. I think some parts of the software can be a little confusing for people that are new to any of this, and it does take a little bit of time to get up and running, but once you get it to where you want it, it is absolutely amazing. I use it all the time now, and it is just, like I said, a very versatile tool for whether you're streaming or whether you're editing videos or photos or whatever programs that you use for creative resources. And the neat thing is if it doesn't support an application that you're using, you can actually go ahead and set up keyboard shortcuts, and it's still useful for those programs. And the thing I like about it the most is I really like the design of the product. I like the build of it. I like the touch screens, and I really love the ability to adjust audio on the fly when I'm streaming or recording, because I think it's just a really neat thing to have. So would I recommend the Loupedeck Live? Well, if you stream, I think it's a great alternative to something like an Elgato Stream Deck. And the reason why I say the Loupedeck Live is a great alternative to it is because, in my opinion, it's got better features. And the reason why is because you can adjust volume knobs on the fly for something like Spotify in your music, or input sources of audio inside of Streamlabs OBS or OBS Studio. And it's just completely convenient to be able to do that if you lock your program that you're using, because then you could be in your game and you don't have to tab out of your program to adjust it. And it's just super convenient to be a dial knob. I think that's awesome and a really cool feature, and being able to see volume levels for Windows and stuff too and be able to adjust that is awesome. Those dial knobs also playing double duty with being able to pause, play, and adjust playback of music inside of Spotify and stuff is also really cool too. And also, if you're doing content creation and streaming, I think it's almost, in my opinion, a no-brainer to go with the Loupedeck Live, specifically because it's just really versatile for the presets that it has for programs such as Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, and just a bunch of other editing and creator programs out there, where if you're maybe not as fine-tuned with keyboard shortcuts as some people, it's just going to save you a lot of time being able to tab back between those workspaces and, jump in kind of head first with using some of these shortcuts that maybe you wouldn't have used beforehand, but since they're there on your screen and they're just a little touch away, it just makes it a lot more convenient and probably will save you a lot of time. So yeah, definitely, I think this is a great product, and I think maybe you should look into seeing whether or not it's something that's gonna work for you. And so yeah, thank you to Loupedeck for sending me this Loupedeck Live for review, and thank you guys for watching, and hopefully this video will help you with your decision on whether or not you want to take a look at possibly purchasing a Loupedeck Live. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be all for this video. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. Go ahead and destroy that like button and get subscribed here to How To Tech if you guys aren't already. And if you haven't checked out our merch yet, go ahead and check it out. It actually just launched sometime last week, and we've already had a few orders, and it's awesome to see a few people currently wearing the merch. And also, big thanks to our Patreon. We'll have those on screen now, and we're gonna start doing that from now on in our videos. So if you wanna support the channel and you want to have your name recognized for supporting the channel, and you want to do that financially, then check out our Patreon, because we're going to be adding some really cool features and neat perks for joining our Patreon. And if you guys haven't also joined our growing community Discord, check it out. It's going to be linked down below. We've got over 2,000 members now, which is absolutely insane, and it's growing at an alarming rate. Not in a bad way, I guess. It's growing great. I appreciate it. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Also, why not? Plug my stream. Guys, check out my Twitch down below, because obviously we're talking about a streaming product and I haven't mentioned it once in this video, which is kind of crazy how I don't mention my own stream when I'm talking about a product for streamers. Yeah, check that out below, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.